What's up, April? All right, so she,
This is my man.
that's your Batman.
My Batman.
Aw, that's cute. He's the dark. He's the Knight of
We have the
Darkness.
same face.
It's the Knight of Darkness. You do have this. You guys look exactly the same. You should definitely date.
You know, like, this is so hard to talk about because I feel like, first of all, this is personal. It should not be on the internet, and I feel like forced almost to do this because of things that are being said and how much pressure is being put on me to address it, since it's very public that him and I, like, know each other.
Mob mentality on the internet is a disgrace and it doesn't help anything. We cannot attack victims, and it is very common for victims of any kind of abuse to lash out in this way even years later. It's well documented, and a lot of people are afraid of going to the police to talk about this kind of thing, and some of them don't go to the police out of fear that the police won't do anything, and it's common for victims to want to hurt the abuser. We should not automatically assume victims to be liars, ever, but also we should not sharpen our pitchforks against a person before they have been convicted of a crime, before there has been absolute solid proof. And some will argue that it's not the place of the public to have any idea about all of this kind of stuff. Then again, others will say that Toby is a very well-known entertainer and are worried that he would be a danger to people.
What?
I need light on the thing.
It is light, bro. I love the circus carnival stuff.
The zombie runs up and is like, "Did you sign the release?"
Yes.
Are you doing magic tricks? He's having magic done too. You look so cute with those. They're adorable.
They're horrible prescription. Do you want to see how bad? Look.
Oh my god, it's so bad.
You're like, I don't know what the fuck that means.
You look great. You still look great.
I feel like he's getting a bad rap from all of these girls. And I know that sounds so fucking terrible. I know it sounds like I'm advocating rape or drug use, which I am not at all. I'm just advocating sticking up for yourself and having self-respect and making your choices and then sticking with your choices.
A person I dated a few years ago has just made some extremely serious, false accusations about me.
Was that rapey enough for you? Probably, yeah. It was probably very rapey. But does that make me a rapist? No, it does not. But what about if I was an emotional abuser, a drug user, a lover of sex, a liar, and a cheater? Does that make me a rapist? I think logic should be kicking in right now with a big answer of no, it does not. Now, I know that I was kind of just taking the piss just then, but realistically, I tried shooting this video in a very serious manner, and I came across as weird, awkward, and kind of boring. I'm not good at telling the news, and I don't like being super serious, so I'm going to try my best to just lay out the facts of what I know, of what you know, and what has been presented to us online with this whole Toby Turner allegations thing with him being an apparent rapist. First thing I wanted to mention is that I am completely neutral. I'm not for or against any side. I simply want to just say what I think about this whole situation. Now, the biggest point I wanted to also bring up here is that Toby, before I even started YouTube, he was a massive influence on like my positivity and my hyperactive energy output into the whole YouTube realm had I have created a YouTube account then. I did not, but he was a massive influence on me actually starting my channel in the first place. Now, this is something I want you to know because I want you to get it through your head that I'm not totally advocating for him. I'm not totally against those who have made accusations against him. I'm not saying that they're wrong. I'm not saying that it didn't happen. I'm not saying that he is 100% innocent. I am stating what it is that I know, and I'm putting this in the simplest form of dot points because the first time I tried to shoot this video, I just rambled on and made not really all that much sense. Breaking this down, we're going to start from the top. April F. and Toby, are they friends? The answer is a clear yes. They've been friends for a very long time, many years. Were Toby and April F. in an actual relationship, boyfriend and girlfriend? Were they together? Was it public? And was everyone aware of this? From what we can see and what we have heard so far from everyone in all different directions is that they definitely had some form of closeness here. Whether they were an item or not remains to be seen, but there is definitely some sort of intimacy going on between the two of them. Another big point is Toby a drug user? Now, from what every single person who is for and against Toby have both come out and said, one of two things. One, yes he is, they've experienced drugs with him, and another thing is that they don't know because they didn't take drugs with him, but they are aware of him possibly using drugs because they were asked by Toby.
He's got a crazy work life, he has ADHD, which he's shared himself, he's struggled with depression. Yeah, that's why I figured he couldn't hold on to a relationship because his life is crazy. I was never abused, raped, drugs forced on me. In my time in LA, I didn't witness Toby taking Molly. I heard him talk about how he used to take it, and his reasoning for taking it was that it enhances sexual pleasure. So I don't know if that can be used as a date rape drug. I don't know anything about those kinds of drugs because I've no experience with that.
He's tried to push weed and Molly on me plenty of times. I've taken Molly with him willingly, but I was heavily pressured to do so. And even on one occasion, he had Molly on his tongue and he kissed me and I didn't know it, and so I had to take it because it got into my mouth. So that was great. So I don't doubt that he put drugs into her shot. And then another occasion, I was heavily pressured to do weed with a girl that brought it over, and I got way too high and uncomfortable. Then another occasion, he was telling me how he was getting Molly from some porn stars, and I was like, okay, I don't know why he needed to clarify that it was porn stars that he was getting it from, but...
I've never had him force himself on me. I've never had him feed me anything without my knowledge. When I firmly say no, no meant no. The only thing I didn't like was his affinity for drugs. He always wanted me to take Molly, and the way my body reacted to Molly was literally like it obliterated my stomach. I would eventually end up throwing up every time after the high kicked in, and then for the next day and a half, I would lay in bed with my stomach aching and just feeling like complete shit.
I helped him curb the drug problem. I helped that a lot. I tried to get rid of alcohol. I tried to get rid of drugs. I had a very good influence on him. A lot of people, have come to me and told me, like, when you dated him, like, you helped a lot, which is cool. Like, and it made me feel good about myself that I was able to have that kind of effect. But one of the things that I heard, and one of the reasons why I didn't really like when he would hang out with April, was because I knew that she was one of the people that introduced him to Molly. She told him about 5-HTP and how that helped her because it made her depressed. Like, anyone that I talk to that knows the situation, thinks that it's just her being, pulled into things by him, but I have heard the opposite in some situations. There's two sides to every story, and I feel like people are only getting one. And I understand that he probably did treat her like shit. He probably did yell at her. He probably did make her cry. He probably did, lie to her about his relationships with other people and did lie to her to keep her staying, about going public eventually with their relationship and stuff. I believe all of that is true, but I do believe that there's a gray area. I don't know exactly what happened with the drug thing. I wasn't there. All I do know is that she was not a person who wouldn't take that drug.
In all honesty, in my opinion, I could give a rat's ass if he takes drugs. Who fucking cares? What people do in their own personal lives is none of my business, it's none of your business, and that certainly does not put him into the category of being a rapist. It does not even give him any characteristics in that column of potentially being a rapist either. We'll say for the sake of argument and for the sake of this video, for the sake of this analysis here, that he is a drug user. Okay, let's just say, for example, that he is. Does that make him more likely to be a rapist? No, it doesn't. Does it make him an actual rapist? No. Does it put him in some sort of category of possibly being a rapist? No, it does not. It means that he's a drug user. It's his personal choice. It's in his personal life. Does it affect anybody? No, it does not. Unless, of course, he's forcing drugs onto someone. Now, we do have some allegations of him drugging people in their drinks. Does this mean that he's a rapist? It leans him into the category of possibly being one because he's drugging someone. So, in April F's post on Tumblr, she accuses Toby of stating that he drugged her drink, and that he didn't deny or agree to saying that he did. He made some weird facial expression. Later on, she says that he admits to doing it.
I asked him if he had slipped something in my drink. Insert cute grin with Griffin voice denying it. I asked him a bunch of times and he denied. But I already knew the answer. I started crying and telling him he's going to kill me. Why would he try to hurt me? That he is selfish and that I'm going to die because of him. This somehow gives him a moment of clarity, or maybe it was just the drugs taking effect, but he admits to putting it in my drink. He tells me it was only just a little bit and that it must have been on the glass from when he used it. He then admits fully to doing it.
But the big question behind this is, do we have proof? Do we have 100% definitive proof of this? Did she go out and get a report of some sort stating that from a doctor she was drugged within 24 hours? No, we don't. Do we have a police report? No, we don't. Am I saying that April F is lying? Am I saying that she's telling the truth? Am I agreeing or disagreeing? No, I'm completely neutral. I'm just stating from what I have seen, what has been given to us to read over. No, we don't have anything that stipulates 100% that she was drugged. Now, besides April F's post, we haven't been given anything else from anybody else. No one else has said that they've been drugged. No one else has said that he has tried to force them to use drugs. Not to my knowledge anyway. If I am wrong, I will post a video right now.
Just because I felt pressured to do things that made me kind of uncomfortable does not mean that I was forced to do them. And I feel like that's where a lot of people go wrong in situations. Like, rather than admit that they did something that maybe they feel ashamed about, they will just blame it on some other factor, like the person pushed me to do it. I'm not going to do that. You know, we had our own personal fights over situations like that and resolved them within the relationship, and that's as far as it should ever go.
And if you didn't see some sort of image pop on the screen just then, that means that there is none available to us just yet. So now we're going to get into the more sexually orientated dot points. Is he an abuser? Do we know this 100% definitively? Do we have proof? And is he someone that could be seen as a rapist with what kind of things he's into sexually? Now, I personally have not had sex with Toby. I don't have any sort of sexual orientation with him, so as you can clearly see, this is not my personal experience. This is my personal opinion. This is my diagnosis from what I have read, what I have gathered, what I am displaying to you today. I am not trolling right now. I'm not taking the piss. I'm being legitimate because people are going to turn around and say really weird, funky shit in the comments. So, like I said, I'm just trying to make light of a very serious, traumatic type situation that I'm discussing here today. I don't want to be 100% serious, so I just want to say my thoughts and be on my way, and you guys can discuss the rest in the comments below. I'm not going to censor anything, so go nuts, say whatever it is you want. I'm not going to hold you back.
Toby strikes me as someone who needs a lot of reassurance that he's awesome. Like, he would text me all the time, and he would text me private versions of videos that are gonna be up or songs that he's made. And like, he got so happy when I told him how great it was. And he would shower me with compliments, and I would shower him with compliments, and that's kind of how our relationship was. But I knew that he was unstable mentally. From the drugs to just really needing that gratification of sex.
He's the kind of person that likes to be praised. He likes compliments. He likes his ego to be inflated. He likes to feel attractive. He likes people to want him. I think that's part of the reason why monogamy is such an issue, because he likes feeling wanted by people so much.
From my knowledge, Toby is someone who needs feedback from the girl. He wants to feel wanted. He thrives on women wanting him and being into him. And I think that's why he finds monogamy tough, because he gets a thrill off a girl being interested.
So the next dot point would be, how sexual of a person is Toby? Now this question is the reason why I wanted to make this video. This one right now that you're watching. Because a new video was released today, a few hours ago. It's about 5 o'clock right now, maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, on Tuesday the 12th of April 2016. The video was created by Tara Babcock. Now, for those of you who watch my videos, you know that I'm a fan of Tara. Now, again, I'm reiterating, I'm totally neutral here. I'm not for or against either side, I'm just explaining what I know.
So I had a similar experience with Toby, but the way I feel about that experience is completely opposite, because I knew what I was doing, I knew what I was getting myself into, and I made choices, and I stick with the choices that I made, whether they're good or bad. Basically, I try not to make mistakes, and if I do make mistakes, I own up to them. So I guess let me just tell you my story. But to preface this, if you did watch Amelia Talon's video, where she talked about Toby, I was actually the girl that she mentioned in the video who introduced them. And one thing to kind of prove that everything is based on perspective is that she left a lot out in that video. She completely victimized herself, which is fine. I mean, some shitty shit happened to her. But she didn't mention that when I introduced them, she was married. And she went ahead and slept with him the same day of her own accord, and took Molly the same day of her own accord.
Now, in Tara's video, she explains that her and Toby a few years ago had a very open and sexual relationship with one another.
Now, the reason my experience with him is so different from other girls is that I don't date like other girls. So right from the get-go, I was telling him, just be honest to me, we can have an open relationship. I clearly have someone at home, aka Jay, who is like my life partner, and I wanted Toby to kind of understand my situation because I never lie to people about that. I told him, I don't care which girls you sleep with, I even like threesomes, and I'm very open with sex, and that was the kind of undertone that I gave the relationship from the beginning. Now, he was like in love with this idea. He kept telling me how great that was and how he wants to find someone who he can have a relationship like I have with Jay. And he kind of seemed like he wanted to make me that person. He kept trying to get me to fly down and move in with him for a while, do videos with him, etc. But I laid down the ground rules in the beginning, saying that I didn't want to just initially jump into making content with him, even though that would be like a dream and so much fun, because I didn't want to feel like that disingenuous person who's just making content with someone or just knows someone or is sleeping with someone in order to get ahead in my career. Basically, I just respected him more than that, and I wanted him to be 100% sure he wanted to make content with me after getting to know me.
Ground rules were made, things were said between one another. If you want to know more in-depth details, the link for that video will be in the description box down below. I'm getting so excited, I'm like spitting everywhere and salivating at the mouth. That's also kind of rapey and really weird. Tara mentions in her video that both of them were taking Molly when they were sexually interactive with one another. And the reason behind that was that it gives a higher pleasure boost.
Lots of sex, lots of drugs, lots of girls, and then I got to the point where I was like, I'm not gonna take Molly anymore. And yeah, he was a little bit pushy about me taking Molly. He wanted me to do it because he said he doesn't have as much fun if I'm not also doing it. And I mean, that makes sense. You never want to be the person who's sober hanging out with other drunk people. But I assured him that I'm just as fun and loosened up when I'm sober. And he asked me if I would try Molly, and this is gonna be embarrassing for him probably, but not for me because I don't give a shit, up the ass to see if it's less potent and makes me less sick. And then if it still makes me sick, I don't have to do it anymore. So I tried it. And it still made me sick, so I ended up not doing it anymore. And he didn't push anymore, and it wasn't a big deal.
Now, this video has been going for ages already. Everything that you need to know is in the description box down below. I strongly advise you to go and check out Tara's video because she details her experience in about a 15-minute video that it really needs to be seen. You really need to open your eyes as well as to what it seems like people are doing in regards to this situation. Now, I'm not saying under any circumstance that these people laying out their experiences are lying. I think that the first story that came out that was laying down these extreme allegations with the severity of what they are has given traction to a certain perception behind all the other stories that are coming out after it. People are labeling him as rapey, thus being a rapist. People are saying that he needs to stay away from their children, and that people are scared of how people will, shouldn't look at his content, and people should see him as for what they believe he is, and that hide your children, and that parody of hide your kids, hide your wife, because everybody gonna be raping up in here, or something like that. Like, that whole parody of that video, people are starting to look at him in that light. Guilty until proven innocent. It seems like one of those mentalities at the moment. And I don't think that's very good, because at the moment, YouTube is becoming a place for drama, like an investigatory tool. And I think that it's so wrong. It's so wrong. I can't even begin to explain. I shouldn't even be making this video, really. Like, I think that the best thing that people need to remember is that YouTube is a place for creativity. The reason why I'm making this video is because I want people to remember, your opinion is your own. Don't lean towards stuff that you hear. It's not about how many stories are out there that makes the argument valid. Like, 1,000 people could come out with the exact same story corroborating with the previous girl or with the first girl. But you have to remember that all of these things, there is nothing really backing it up besides text messages. I saw this one text message that Keemstar tried to claim as evidence to the interactions between Toby and this girl about ass grabbing. I'll display this on screen right now. So the message is that Toby's friend messaged Toby and said, "Why did you grab my ass? Dude, what the fuck?" Toby responds by saying, "Sorry, I thought that you grabbed my ass like a minute beforehand," essentially like flirting in return the same way. Now, I know a lot of people are going to perceive that as, "Oh, well, she's a girl. He was just, like, taking advantage of her and blah, 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 blah." If he thought that she was grabbing her ass in a flirtatious way, why can't the guy do it back to the girl? It's a double standard. It's like a girl can rape a guy as much as a guy can rape a girl. It's the exact same situation. Girls have just as much ability of abusing a guy, of raping a guy, of, all these various things. They do. As much as people don't believe it, they do, okay? And I'm not discrediting those who are saying that he could potentially be this character. I'm not saying that at all. But in this text message, I found it laughable that she tried to label him as a monster from this message. And then, like, hours upon hours later, I can see where he was coming from. He is a victim of depression, right? I'm not saying it's an excuse for him to have done that. I'm not saying that he said this as like a cover-up or anything like that for, doing what he did. I see that joke that he tried to make here at the bottom of the message as him trying to cover up his own guilt for doing something that he sees as wrong. In Tara's video, she also explains that she wanted them to have like some sort of rough sex, and that at the start of that rough sex, he seemed like he couldn't go through with it, and that he was afraid of, doing something that would be taken the wrong way, or that he could potentially hurt her or something like that, and he seemed very meh.
I remember one time that I asked him to choke me and he felt really bad about it and only did it for like 2 seconds very lightly. I can't imagine him being more rough than I would want. And yeah, I like rough sex, but that's just not the relationship that I had with him. I had no problems with that. And as far as verbal abuse, I can't even imagine that really. He said nothing to me but that I'm perfect, I'm amazing, I'm gorgeous, I'm awesome. There was never any talking down to me or anything like that.
He was turned on every time I cried. And he was always mean and insulting to me. So this was the pattern.
If you're acting like you don't like it or something is wrong, like, he takes it as like a personal thing, like, oh, what, you don't want me? Like, I'm not good enough? Like, so, you know, it turned him off is what I'm trying to say. In the few times that happened with me and him, it turned him off, and he wasn't interested in sex anymore because I didn't seem like I was like all about him. That was just a no-go. So it's hard for me to imagine a situation where a girl was saying, no, I don't want you, and him being like, too bad. Like, it just doesn't make sense because like that ruined it for him every time with us.
I know that he's not someone who takes pleasure in hurting people just based on certain situations I was in with him. Now, I think he's riddled with guilt over breaking hearts, and you know, he's a human and we're all very layered as human beings. However, regardless of how layered you are, everyone is capable of very bad things.
People seem to think that celebrities are impervious to being anything less than perfect. This includes people on television, movies, YouTube celebrities, and people who are looked up on as like a god, essentially. This is not true. Everybody with logic knows that this is not true. Take Mariah Carey, for example, or Justin Bieber, or it doesn't matter who. Pick like a celebrity who could be seen as someone who would never murder someone, or cannibalize someone, or rape an animal, or fucking, I don't know, think of something that's incredibly disgusting and totally wrong and totally morally wrong and just fucked up in general. You can say that that person did that despicably disgusting thing, and there's going to be a fuck ton of people that will not believe it because they believe that it's impossible for that person to do that thing. Same goes for this situation. This exact same situation. You can't say that this person is 100% innocent. You can't say this person is 100% guilty because there's no definitive 100% factual proof. You can't. Because you don't know that exact same circumstance. You weren't there. You can't see it. You don't have a locked down 100% this is what happened type thing to go on. If you are a part of this circle of people who know Toby and have experienced your own story, you can define and find a grey area. Myself, I can't find a grey area because I don't know you guys personally. It's impossible to gain a grey area if you don't know the situation personally. Online, you can create a grey area. You can make one from details.
I remember he actually kind of started having a panic attack about how he's never going to find anyone like I have Jay, someone that actually understands him, someone that he can actually do the things that he wants to do with, that he doesn't have to lie to, that he can be honest in himself with. And it was really sad to me because I already had this set up. I can be that for him, but not in the way that he wanted. And it seems like he has a real problem with sex and instant gratification and being told that he's wonderful. And so he needs that pick-me-up from a lot of different women, yet he's very jealous, so he kind of wants an open relationship that's one-sided. And that's not something I could give him because, you know, I have Jay. And it was sad to see him like that, and it's sad to be tortured like that, and I feel like he needs help. He doesn't need ridicule.
Anytime I was uncomfortable with something, he would respect that, and I witnessed him get very upset several times, worrying that people were uncomfortable in certain situations, and I saw him upset a lot. I saw him cry a lot. I know he has a lot of issues that he intends on sorting out and going to therapy for. He has a lot of stuff to fix and to reevaluate. And I was not there during these alleged events, so I cannot say what did or didn't happen. All I can say is what happened to me.
I don't think you can explain this particular situation in a way that's going to bring out everything. But in all honesty, if you really want to know what's going on, you can't. The only thing you can go on is your own personal opinion from what you have created, like a situation and, you know, the scene that you've created in your head, in your mind. That's the only thing you can go on. And whether or not you agree or disagree with either party, I'm not disproving or proving either side. I'm just providing my opinion crossed with the stuff that I have found and with the stuff that seems like it makes more sense than others. That's all I'm going on. So you can like or dislike the video, I don't give a shit. I'm making this because I need people to remember that your opinion is your opinion. Don't follow a bandwagon and go out there and, you know, try to agree with someone because you think that they're correct. I know that you probably they're friends and you want to support them, and that's a fair reason. Okay, if you want to support your friends, go nuts. But if you are saying that this person is an angel and someone who can never do wrong and is someone who will like forever be on a pedestal of gold that's, you know, 100% bulletproof of doing something wrong, then you're fucking delusional. I believe that everyone needs to be given a fair chance. Everybody needs to be given somewhat of a fair chance, at least. You know, at the moment, it just seems like a lynch mob. And I think that's so wrong.
All I know is that in my experience with him, I'm very vocal. I let him know when I don't like something, you know, and that's the end of the story. You know, I've never said no and been forced to do anything, ever. There are a lot of things that suck, that are very, very difficult to handle. But at the same time, I just feel like there's a gray area there that's not being talked about, and it's not good. And it's dangerous. And it just seems very vindictive. But I don't think of him as this criminal. Like, I just don't.
So I feel like these girls that are making these hate posts about how he's a rapist or forcing drugs on people, if that did happen, which I don't know and you don't know either, because you weren't there, I really don't feel like Toby could have possibly had malicious intent. I feel like it was just a mistake he made, or he got carried away, or he was high or something. And these are not good excuses that just excuse him or absolve him in any way. But to ruin someone's career, someone who's already so fragile, just seems so fucked up. Basically what I feel like is there are a bunch of fangirls that see Toby as so attractive and so smart and so awesome, and they want to make content with him, and it's not necessarily an attention whore thing, but it can be. And then they get to meeting him and knowing him, and they end up doing anything for him because he's like their idol, instead of actually having the self-respect to be like, whoa, these are the boundaries, this is the kind of person I am, okay, you're not gonna have a relationship with me, I'll leave. And like when you read the blog post from that girl April, it's just like she keeps going back, and you know, at some point, you know, fool me once, shame on you, fool me 100 times, it's kind of my fault too. And I'm not saying that Toby is without his flaws, because he is definitely a sadly flawed human being. He's fighting demons that none of us understand. So to sit there and judge him just because you saw him as someone who is some heavenly non-human being because he was an idol to you is just a little ridiculous.
I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, and if you agree or disagree, if you want to like it, go nuts. If you don't, all good. Doesn't really bother me. I'm just making this so I can get my opinion across to you, and that people can understand where I'm coming from, and that people can understand where other people are coming from. That's all I have to say here today, guys. So I hope you guys are all having a mad day, and I hope I wasn't taking the piss too hard for you to handle. I hope I wasn't too serious for you to handle, and I hope I wasn't too in your face, pretty much. Yeah. So anyway, I feel better. I hope you guys are all having a mad day, and until next time, peace. Blah, 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 blah.